all right. Who is ready to talk about some green stuff? Yes. When I say green stuff on this channel, most of the time I mean environmental stuff. And I mean talking about saving the planet, saving some species. But today I am talking about space invaders. Space invaders. We are talking about getting some cows high. This is from HiveScience. Boy, oh boy, is this a doozy. Nice little palate cleanser here from the Hive for you. Cows fed hemp act stoned and produce milk containing THC. Let's read on, ladies and gentlemen. Cows fed hemp, which is not yet an approved animal feed, behave strangely and produce milk with THC. Who would have thought, right? I love that this is the hard research that we are getting out of our scientific community. THC milk coming to a store near you, 2025. Scientists conduct research to see if hemp could be a safe feed option for dairy cows. The dairy cows wobbled unsteadily on their hooves, their tongues lolled about, and the membrane of their eyes reddened. What triggered these odd symptoms? A diet of industrial hemp, research says. The cannabis-derived product didn't give cows the munchies. In fact, the cows decreased their overall food intake. In turn, they produced less milk, but the milk they did yield contained detectable levels of both delta 9, here's the fun word, tetrahydrocannabinol, which is what THC stands for, the primary high-inducing compound in marijuana, and the cannabidiol CBD, which exerts some effects on the body but isn't psychoactive, so that gives you the body high, but it doesn't affect your brain. Hemp is not yet an acceptable animal feed additive in the U.S. or Europe, in part due to concerns that the plant's active compounds will find their way into milk. Senior author Robert Pieper, temporary co-head of the Safety in the Food Chain Department at the German Federal Institute for Risk Assessment, told HiveScience in an email. But as the hemp and CBD industry have grown, stakeholders and regulators have theoretically considered using hemp as animal feed, citing its cheapness and nutritional value, Science reported. However, there is not enough research to approve the plant for such use. In a new study published Monday, November 14th, in the Journal of Nature, Piper and his colleagues, I don't know if that's Piper or Pieper, I guess Piper though, and his colleagues found that cannabinoids can slip into milk of hemp-fed cows, but the risk this could pose to consumers remains unclear. To evaluate the effects of hemp on dairy cows and their meat, or not their meat, their milk, could affect their meat too. I don't know if they tested that yet. In their milk, researchers fed 10 lactating dairy cows, so it's a sample size of 10. That's not a really large sample size. Lactating dairy cows feed containing hemp with different concentrations of cannabinoids, meaning cannabis-derived compounds with drug-like effects. Hemp and marijuana come from the same plant species, Cannabis sativa, but by definition, hemp contains no more than 0.3% THC, while marijuana carries higher concentrations, according to the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. In the first weeks of the trial, researchers swapped some of the cow's corn-based feed for hemp feed made from whole cannabis sativa plants. This contained low doses of cannabinoids. Then for the next 6 days, they fed the cows a high cannabinoid hemp feed made from flowers, leaves, and seeds of the plants. The whole plant feed had no effect on the cow's health or behavior, but within hours of switching to the flower feed, the bovines' breathing and heart rate fell unusually low. These are rare symptoms in cows that only occur in the course of serious illness or can be pharmacologically induced, the researchers noted. The cows drooled, yawned, and produced more nasal secretions than usual, and their eyes reddened. They also exhibited pronounced tongue play. I do the same thing with cannabinoids. I'm like, so tongue play is always welcome. Some cows who ate larger amounts of the flower feed developed an unsteady gait and adopted abnormal postures when they stood still. 2 days after the diet switch, the cows stopped eating as much and their milk yield declined. We currently do not have a mechanistic explanation as to why this occurred, Piper told HiveScience. The flower feed happened to contain more fat than the whole plant feed, so that could have affected the cow's appetite. But the cannabinoids themselves may also have played a role in the role, the researcher wrote. The observers, maybe I've had too much cannabinoid. I'm having trouble reading. Maybe it's the sunglasses, right? But I can't talk about weed without my sunglasses on. The observed changes in the cows resolved within 2 days of them switching back to their normal diet. THC is the most likely culprit behind the changes, but other cannabinoids and chemicals in the hemp may have contributed to the cow's symptoms. THC, CBD, and other cannabinoids could be detected in the cow's milk at the end of the whole plant trial, throughout the flower feed trial. 8 days after the latter trial ended, detectable THC and CBD still lingered in the animal's milk. The amount of THC detected during the flower feed trial could have some effect on human health, the study authors said. However, at some point, it's not clear if such THC-tainted dairy would get you high. Much more research would be needed before regulators could consider approving hemp as animal feed. So, I'm kind of interested in this THC milk. I wonder if it makes it through pasteurization, the pasteurization process, if the THC and CBD get through that, because you could market this as milk that helps ease joint pain and things like that. If it's because in my experience anyway, as a advocate of marijuana use for both physical and mental ailments, I am of the opinion that that edibles, that marijuana that you consume by eating it is more effective on your body. I don't know if there's research behind that. It's just my experience. Like if I eat an edible, it hits my body, and I'm like, my joint pains and aches and stuff go away. Whereas if I smoke it, it's more of a head high. That's just been my experience again. So each person's unique and has their own independent biology that may be affected differently. Brian Stevens says it's an expensive way to feed the livestock, but yeah, I guess that since the prohibition on it is ending, that and it's not too hard to grow weed and hemp, that the market value of it has gone down, so it's not as expensive as it used to be. I think that's the reason why they're looking into it, because it's actually, hemp is easy to grow and maintain in bulk. It's just that there was prohibition on it for so long that that the market really didn't level out. So it was like there was too few places to sell it for it to be a commodity. So it was rare for people to grow it, and often it was illegal to grow it. So people had to grow it in seclusion and things like that drove the price up. But now that it's legal, especially in places like the U.S., it's not the market value of it's not nearly what it used to be. Anyway, so that was the first part of the show. I think I'm going to call this start calling this segment like Silly Science or something. We'll do something silly, and then we'll do something conservationist. So we'll do something silly after Creation Watch, the palate cleanser, and then we'll go back in, and I'll end on something like this. And I'm going to take my sunglasses off now because I'm not talking about weed anymore.